All right. We're going to go over the framing out of a window. I generally do all my work in Excel, just byproduct of where I come from professionally. So I'm going to walk you through a model of what um, it's supposed to look like, which you'll see on the screen right here. And effectively, this is what we're trying to replicate using studs. And we're going to build this out, slip it into the wall, and that will be our window. So, um, the top two plates over here are already in the wall. That's part of the framing of the house. So is the bottom plate. Now, one of the things that I'm going to do here, I'm probably going to add another bottom plate. It makes it easier for me because then I can create a piece outside of my window and then put it in and effectively make it such that how do I want to say this? I am lost. Anyway, we'll get to it. I'm going to walk you through it. Basically, I can't. I'm not framing from scratch, and I don't want to put nails in sideways. I want all the forces to be vertical. So basically, I'm going to have on the bottom here another plate in between the sill and the cripples. So if I find a photo here, um, I don't have a good one, but either way, we'll be all right. So I went ahead and I measured my king stud, right? The king stud really is going to drive everything else. And based on the rough opening here, right? I know my rough opening. I know my king stud. I measured it. We're going to determine the length of the cripples. Um, I generally you'll work from the bottom up. You'll say, I want my windowsill height to be a certain height. I'm taking a little bit of a different approach here. These are big windows and they're statement windows, and I'm actually managing for the view beyond the window when you look into the room. So what I'm really trying to do here is make sure that when I walk into the room and I look straight, I maximize the number of trees or the height of the trees that I see beyond the window. So, in order to do that, I'm not going to have cripples on the top part. I'm going header directly to top plate and I'm working my way down because I want my window to be as high as possible considering for the header. So I'm basically we're going to reference this guide a couple times, but basically we know I'm doing a double sill for extra support and stability. I'm doing a bottom bracket either within the king studs or outside the king studs. I'm probably going to do within the king studs. So you're going to see sill, base plate, king stud, trimmer, header, and the cripples, which at this point, I don't know how many I need. Technically, I can space them 16 on center. I'm a stickler for overbuilding things generally, and I just want to make sure that these expensive, heavy windows last forever. Forever. Okay, so off the top, I'm going to use a 2x6 header. I thought about using a 2x8, and technically that would create much more structural support, but these aren't wide windows, so I'm not too concerned. And again, I want to maximize my view on top of the window when I'm sitting, when I'm standing, when I walk into the room. So effectively, I'm going to use 2x6s, right? So now I know that my rough opening here is 36. So this window is not a very good representation. Let's see if we can actually. Yeah, fuck it. Oh, okay. So this isn't great, but this is basically my window. Can't read shit. All right. So I know my rough opening is 36 wide. Okay. So now if I look at my rough opening, right, my header, okay, is going to be the rough opening. I'm going to open this up. This is actually annoying the shit at me. It's going to be the rough opening plus these two trimmers. I pointed like you could see it, plus these two trimmers right here. Okay. So I'm going rough opening equals plus 36. Now each 2x4 is 1.5 inches 6 plus 1.5 plus 1.5. So I need 39-inch headers of 2x6. Okay. Now, obviously, my header, um, I need a 1/2 inch thick foam board in between for insulation purposes and to create spacing because each header is 3.5 inches. And I want it to be the length of a 2x4 on the flat side, which is 3.5 inches, not 4 inches. So I'm going to throw in a 1/2 inch foam board. It helps with insulation. It creates a thermal gap. Sorry, well, I just came out of focus. Okay, creates a thermal gap. So my foam board now is going to be 5.5 inches, 5.5 by the 39, right? And technically, I'm putting length slash dimensions. Okay. So this I know is 39 inches because obviously it's a 2x6. It's built into it. But things like foam board, I need to cut the width and the length. So I'm labeling it 5.5 inches by 39. My king studs, okay, are 2x4s. So that's two of the dimensions of the king stud, the last one being length. So I know after double measuring each king stud, which is in between, okay, my base plate, boom, and my top plates, my double top. This king stud is 90.75, 90 and 3/4. So I'm working off of that. Okay. So now let's go backwards, right? So now I have 90.75 is my king stud. I have 5.5 is my header. Okay. I have um 60 is my rough opening. Okay. I want two sill plates. It's it's major overkill. I don't care. I'm not paying somebody to do this. It's an extra $2 plus nails, plus screws, plus 5 minutes. I don't, whatever. Let's just say $10. Okay. Um, just for my own peace of mind. I want it to be robust. So now each sill is 1.5 inches because they're 2x4s. So now naturally, and then again, let's account for my base plate. Okay, 1.5. So you're going to see on my measurements, right? So let's do, oh, fuck. All right. 5.5 inch. I actually need this to be 5.5 length. Let's do this. Let's reconcile height. Okay. So the header height, 5.5. Fill plates is 1.5 times 2. Okay. Foam board doesn't count. It's inside the header. The king stud, 90.75. My trimmers don't affect height because they're within the rough opening. They affect the width, right? See here, trimmer jack stud. So I need two of them. Let's just ignore that. It's not factored into the height. Cripple bottom, okay. Base plate, 2x4, 1.5, okay. So let's just do that math again real quick. 5.5 for the header, two sill plates. That's 6.5 plus a RO, rough opening, rough open. Okay. uh, length times width times height. Okay, so the height of my rough opening, 60 inches, right? So now I'm doing the same thing here. Okay, let's just do math. Let's love it. So we're solving for the cripple. Sounds mean, but um, you know, it's construction. People are mean. Just kidding. Uh, so basically, my cripple will be my king stud minus 70. So each cripple is 20 and 3/4 inches. So let's go back here. Okay. So let's do math. I'm gonna, you know, I imputed this. I'm gonna do it again because obviously measure twice, cut once. That's the rule. 5.5 here. Then I have 3 there. Then I have 1.5 here. Okay. Then I have 60 here. I'm just trying to line it up so that it's like in your face what it should be. So basically, header, rough opening, double sill, base plate minus king stud equals cripple. Okay, equals sum. Okay, 90.75 equals this minus this. Boom. All right. So now I know my cripples. Okay. Okay. So let's reconcile height. Unaccounted for. Uh, okay. So how do we think of this, right? So everything obviously is in proportion to the king stud. And ironically, it reminds me of when you're baking bread. All ingredients are measured in proportion to the amount of flour, which is a different lesson, but it's related, or it's kind of similar. So the king stud is my primary reference. Nothing can add up to be more than my king stud because then I'm royally toast. So, um, thinking, yeah, let's ignore king stud from the height. So I reconcile, right? 90 and 3/4, everything adds up. So now when I go cut, okay, when I'm building out this window opening, um, I know my height reconciles based on my cripple. Uh, my cripple, I can decide later if I want 2 or 4. It doesn't matter because if you look at it, it's just going to slide in, right? I definitely need, I definitely need. Um, if you look here, 1, 2, 3. Actually, I'm gonna do 5. Fuck it. 5 for a 3-foot window seems overkill. Like, let's think about this. 12, 12, 12. We're gonna do um 1, 2, 3, 4 cripples. Okay. And the reason being it's a shorter window, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I don't really need more than 12 inches. Like that is genuine overkill. Also, if you go more than 12 inches, you're going to run into an issue where, or less than 12 inches, if your cripples are too tight, you're going to run into an issue when you're drilling holes to run wire. So, you know, don't do it. We don't need it. All right. So let's go back to our window model. Granted, I could do all this on paper. I could do this much faster, but for me, I like Excel. So now my cutting lengths. So I know my nominal is there. I know my king stud is going to be cut to 90. There's nothing to cut here, okay? My trimmer I'm cutting it to the length of the window, okay? My cripple bottom, we already know, okay? My header, again, I'm cutting a 39-inch 2x6, boom. My sill, all right? If you look at my sill, okay? My sill is my rough opening plus plus the trimmers. Okay. So my sill is the same length as my header. And we're gonna reconcile all this. All right. Boom. You see here, the sill is the same as the header. Okay. So now my foam board, dimensional, multi-dimensional cutting, custom cutting, whatever you want to call it. Excuse my French. Now my rough open also, there's no cut there. And my base plate. So I'm gonna put the base plate. Oh, my base plate is going within, okay? Again, within the king studs. So if it's within the king studs, as you can see, it's the same as the sill and the header. So my base plate is going to be 39 inches wide. Okay. So now let's think about this. Okay. Within my king studs, I will have a 1.5 inch base plate on the ground. Then I'm going to have the cripples. Okay. That are 20 3/4. On top of the cripples, I'm going to have 3 inches of sill, a 60-inch rough opening, and 5.5 inches of headers. Okay. All of that comes to 90.75, which is my king stud. Okay. So now basically, plus 8 times 12, each, um, each 2x4 is, 96 inches. So, obviously you can create a way of efficiently cutting it. You can kind of eyeball it. So, like off the bat, I know that, all my cripples are going to come out of one 2x4. I can get at least 4 cripples. Um, yeah. Um, the other thing is like maybe I can try to figure out like, oh, if I do, what is let's actually play around here. So what is this relative to a 2x4, right? So one of the things you can see is all the 41s and the 63s, they don't add up well, right? But now if I decide, you know, 63 plus, so basically I can get one cripple and one trimmer out of two by fours. But again, I'm not trying to, if I have leftover wood, I'm fine with it. Um what I'm just really trying to do here is think about, all right, how many 2x4s do I need? But at the end of the day, I know my dimensions, I know my cuts, I know my rough opening, and basically we're gonna go after this and break it down. We're gonna cut shit, nail it together, glue it together, whatever we need to do, get our unit ready, and then the focus after that will be taking out the old side, popping the new unit in. Um, but again, one step at a time. So I'm comfortable where our framing ended up here.